My name's Tyler Myers, and this is my video for the Cultural Immersion Experience project. To begin with, I will do a small self-assessment about where I fit on the cultural scale as an American, and I will be doing that by explaining my cultural code self-assessment using the chart that was given to us. To begin with, I'll start with directness. I marked myself as a 4, so right in the middle being moderate. I think sometimes in our culture we're expected to be more direct, but me personally, I'm more of an introvert and I tend to be more passive, so I kind of fit right in the middle of that scale. Enthusiasm, I marked myself as a 5, so a high moderate. Um, this was because I had several experiences doing study abroad in Germany, and this rose based on some of the people that I had around me. If I were to say, if I were to say, judge myself before abroad, it would probably be on the lower end of the moderate scale, such as a 3. The next is formality. Again, I marked myself as a 4, so right in the middle. However, if I were to mark myself at work, it would be in the higher end because I'm supposed to be extremely formal at my job. The next is assertiveness. I have myself marked as a 3, and this goes along with me being more passive. I'm in the moderate scale because of the culture we live in as Americans, but I personally am more assertive or less assertive. Self-promotion, I am a 5, so a high moderate. This is because I was raised by my parents and family to be proud of my achievements. Not to say that I gloat, however, when speaking about, myself in a positive manner, I do that a decent amount. And then finally, for personal disclosure, I rated myself as a 2. So in the low category, this is just because the people I'm around, I'm not expected to share much with. I know some jobs, obviously, you are expected to share more of your background, but for me personally, I do not share as much unless I need to. I now just completed my 3 to 4 hour conversation with my previous host father from Wasserburg in Germany, Erwin Krutzenbichler. I had the opportunity to spend 10 months there in high school. And luckily for me, Germany was not a huge culture shock for me, and I was able to fit in pretty well. But some of the differences and I gathered this throughout the interview as well as when I was there, is they're a lot more closed off, less personable. Luckily for me, I was in the South, which is a little bit more personable than the North, and they also are very punctual. They're always on time, which was a little bit different for me, as the U.S. is generally on time, but not if you're not early, you're late. But to answer the A question, are the ways in which you behave, feel, think helpful in overcoming cultural gaps? I believe my ways of thinking are, as I mentioned, I was lucky enough to do study abroad in high school, and my family and I have traveled, and through study abroad, I was able to meet people from South America, Asia, Africa, Europe, pretty much all over, which really enhanced my cultural knowledge. And I feel like I know how to bridge the cultural gap based off of techniques I learned, such as if you're in a country, you should first attempt the person's language to get their attention, and then based off of your knowledge of the language, then you can maybe try English, but just attempting the language really helps in terms of helping the person feel more comfortable. The second thing is I try not to force my cultural background on them. I don't want to come off as too strong. And then another thing that really helps me is I love asking to hear more about them, where they come from, what their style of life is like, because I feel that if I can get to know them more on a personal level, that really kind of bridges the gap to where we can figure out how to work together, even if our cultures are very far apart. In terms of question B, what do I need to improve? I think my main point that I want to improve is I need to learn and improve my knowledge on the Asian, African, and Middle Eastern cultures. Whenever I was abroad and I've traveled, never had the opportunity to travel to any of those places, and I have not met a large amount of people from there, which kind of leads to how I can improve. I feel like the biggest area in which I can improve is just to meet people from there. I think meeting people and introducing myself to people is a huge help in terms of improving my cultural knowledge, just so I can get a sense of, what their beliefs are, how they react, that type of thing. So yes, that was my cultural immersion project.